lifestyles, the rich and psychotic will not be seen tonight, so that we may bring you the following WFRT special presentation interview with a vampire chick.
Good evening everyone, thanks for joining us on this 31st day of the orbit. Legends have been the basis for stories and myths down through the ages, and the subject for countless books and hundreds of movies. But in actual fact very little is known about the truth behind the legends. Tonight, we will learn the truth about a legend which people have feared and whispered about through the ages, the vampire. Our guest tonight is Alexandra Corvary. Alexandra is, without doubt, singularly qualified to speak on the subject, since she herself is in fact a vampire. Alexandra, thank you for joining us tonight.
I'm glad to be here. It is long past time for misconceptions about my kind to be cleared up once and for all.
The first, perhaps most obvious, question is, have you always been a vampire?
No, I was born in the year 1198 and lived as a normal human until the year 1228, when I was turned.
So you have been a vampire for 782 years?
Yes, that's correct.
How did you become a vampire?
In the spring of 1228 a stranger came to my village. Over the next several months we fell in love. Before long I found out that he was a vampire, though this would have, and later did, frighten the others in my village. I didn't care. I decided that I wanted to be with him forever. He gave me some of his blood to drink, and the next night I rose as a vampire.
Where is he now?
The villagers eventually found out what he was, and that he had turned me. They attacked us one night and he stayed behind, to keep them busy while I escaped. They managed to surround him, and drove a stake through his heart, and then tied his body to a tree, and burned it when the sun rose. I left there and never returned.
A question that I'm certain many people have is, was Dracula real?
The man known as Dracula was actually named Vlad Tepes. He was also known as Vlad the Impaler. He was very real. He was also an absolute madman who tortured and killed hundreds, until he himself was finally killed.
How about Blackula?
Just as it is in the case of film portrayals of Count Dracula, Blackula is nothing but pure Hollywood.
We have several questions from viewers concerning the vampire legend, the first of which is from Tilly, who asks, would you like to be human again?
I'll admit that I think about that sometimes, however those times are very rare. Besides, it isn't possible.
Sarah asks, what is your favorite blood type?
I actually don't have a favorite, because blood type is irrelevant to a vampire. It is much more important that there are no blood diseases or STDs.
Nancy asks, what's so scary about a crucifix?
Nothing. Vampirism is caused by an extremely rare retrovirus that is related to porphyria, not evil spirits and curses as legends and Hollywood would have you believe. The value of any holy symbol is not in the symbol itself so much as it is the faith of the person using it. Sadly, these days very few have sufficient faith for any holy symbol to be of any use to them for any purpose besides a decoration.
Holly asks, your coffin or mine?
First I have to say that it is actually rare for a vampire to use a coffin these days. It's much more comfortable to just arrange for a secure room with no windows and a good lock. Second, I have to point out that, if you are in a coffin, unless you have some unusual fetish you are probably dead. If you came to mine, or wherever I've chosen to sleep, I wouldn't recommend doing so uninvited. Besides, if I'm in a coffin, there's really only room for one. I have never seen a coffin built for two.
Kiss My Kitty asks, what's a better sensation, blood sucking or an orgasm?
The taking of blood is a matter of feeding, and in spite of how it's portrayed by Hollywood and romantic novelists, is not sexual any more than eating a cheeseburger is for you.
Kat asks, how do you make money to live? Do you work? If you do work, what kinds of jobs do you do, or have you done in your lifetime? Or do you kill wealthy people and steal their money/property, in order to live and pay bills etc.?
During the 1200s I did resort to occasional theft, but I usually either had a job or there were men who provided me with all that I needed. Over the centuries I have amassed enough wealth to take care of my needs for several hundred years. I also have a very respectable collection of antiques that span well over 700 years.
Treknacalitas asks, if you become a vampire by being bitten by another vampire, where'd the first vampire come from?
As I said earlier, vampirism is caused by an extremely rare retrovirus that is related to porphyria. This virus is sometimes passed on when a human is exposed to a vampire's blood. We believe that at about 5,000 years ago a human encountered this retrovirus in a way that allowed it to get into his blood.
Joanna asks, how do you feel about the sea of vampire lore out there? How much of it is accurate or far-fetched? Do you find some of it insulting or just funny? Do you have any favorite supernatural books, anime/manga, or movies that tell about vampires, or do you just stay away from that genre?
Most of the so-called vampire lore is far from the truth. Most of it is rather comical and extremely unlikely. As for vampire fiction, I have enjoyed many novels over the years and a television series called Forever Night.
Speaking of vampire lore, what do you think of this new phenomenon of sparkling vampires that has been spawned as a result of the Twilight craze? Do you consider yourself Team Edward or Team Jacob?
I think it's one of the most ridiculous ideas about us I have heard yet. To borrow an expression that has become popular on YouTube, Twilight is fake and gay. I am definitely Team Two Camels in a Tiny Car.
Can you change shapes and take the form of a bat or wolf?
No more than you can.
Would you burst into flames if you went into the sunlight?
No, however, like victims of porphyria, we are severely allergic to direct sunlight. Speaking of sunlight, the sun will be rising in a few hours and I have quite a distance to travel before then.
Well, we certainly won't keep you. Thank you for joining us tonight. It has been most educational. Perhaps you will join us again sometime.
I may indeed. Thank you for this chance to set the record straight about us.
Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the show, please be sure to take a second to click the like button. Good night everyone.
This has been a WFRT special presentation, Interview with a Vampire Chick.